Hello, everyone, and welcome to the live virtual reception for Historic Landmarks of the World, presented by Photo Art Pavilion. I'm Jessica Lempen. I'm one of your hosts for tonight. Um, I am co-founder and COO of Photo Art Pavilion. Joining me shortly is JOANNE Henig, my business partner, who is the CEO of Photo Art Pavilion and the selected juror for tonight's exhibit. So we do get a lot of questions as to who is or what is Photo Art Pavilion. And before we jump into this evening's festivities, I just wanted to take a moment and talk about Photo Art Pavilion and what we do here. We are a privately women-owned company dedicated to supporting the world of art photography. Photo Art Pavilion serves as an innovative online platform bridging the gap between art collectors and talented photographers. Our mission is to simplify the process for collectors, offering them access to a diverse array of photography styles, genres, and sizes, along with creating and building a community of like-minded photographers through an online gallery, marketing and business support, displaying opportunities to even in-field educational events. We are a unique and dynamic entity, and we're so excited for our online and virtual exhibits that you're joining us with tonight. So the Historical Landmarks of the World, a virtual juried photo exhibit. Tonight's live reception features a stunning array of photographs showcasing iconic landmarks from across the world. We welcome you to explore the images and that not only encapsulate the essence of each landmark, but also embrace abstract and unconventional perspectives, showcasing the artistic version behind the lens. So as I mentioned, my business partner, JOANNE, she is tonight's juror. JOANNE is based here in New York with me. She is a seasoned photographer with over 30 years of professional experience, renowned for her art-winning landscape, waterscape, and abstract photography. She has exhibited her artwork worldwide and is featured in both private and corporate collections. JOANNE, I would love to bring you in and be able to join us and share with you what it is that went into jurying this exhibit. Because I know we had so many entries and the art was outstanding.
It was a lot going on with this exhibit. Phenomenal entries. I probably took 10 passes at all of the entries that came in with changing. I've changed my mind about 50 times. Yes, no, yes, no. I really would have loved to have more entries in this exhibit. Jess had wanted me to keep it to 40, and I pushed it to 50. So we have 50 images to take a look at tonight. I really wanted to include every artist in this open call exhibit, in this virtual exhibit, I should say. But I had a job to do, and the job was to choose artists that hit the theme primarily, that the imagery had a clear center of interest, the compositions were good, focus, exposure, story, lighting, creativity, and uniqueness. And then, of course, making sure that all fit within the theme. As I said, all the work was great. And then the other thing I tasked myself to do was to try and not have duplicates of one particular historical landmark. I didn't want to have within this exhibit, 13 Eiffel Towers, if you will. And I also wanted to make this exhibit very diverse in the subject matter, and that so that we can all have some fun with it. I had a lot of fun going through everything, and I hope you enjoy the exhibit, and I hope you have fun watching it with me, going through it with me.
Excellent. Thank you, JOANNE. All right. So now begins the show. I'm going to let JOANNE drive this part of the exhibit or the reception to be able to fill us in on the artwork and whatever was drawn to her and what made her choose this image that you're currently seeing. All right.
Wasn't easy. Okay, first image up, the Chateau. I really can't pronounce this, but I will just call it the Chateau by Stacy White. What drew me to this image was the story that it tells. It tells a beautiful story with the kayaks inside, in that waterway. I also felt that from a photography point of view, that when it comes to photographing architecture, buildings, that the verticals and the horizontals were perfectly captured. The leading line on the left side drew me in, and then the boats coming out drew me out, and I just kept circling back and forth with this image. So Stacy, I want to thank you for submitting this, and I was happy to choose it. The Bethesda Fountain in Central Park, New York City. What I loved about this image, even though the subject was dead center in the frame, there's a lot going on in the scene overall on the left and the right of the fountain itself. The fountain is gorgeous. If you've never ever been to New York City, Central Park, check out the fountain. That whole area is just so beautiful. But seeing all the people milling around and enjoying this area of Central Park, I thought told a great story. Good lighting. Love the muted tones of this. And I want to thank you, Sharon, for participating in this open call. The Joy of Living by Bob Soltis, I'm sorry. Eiffel Tower here is the historical landmark, but look how fun this image is. The child or the woman either losing the balloons or watching the balloons go up. I just thought that this was such a really cool way of depicting the historical landmark of the Eiffel Tower. I thought it was just fun. I love this one. The View from the Bridge. This happens to be, I believe it's the Williamsburg Bridge in New York City. But yes, that's a historical landmark, no doubt. But if you go deeper into the scene, you could see the Chrysler Building, the Empire State Building, and a lot of other buildings in the background that within that skyline that I felt like, wow, that's a really a lot of historical landmarks jammed into one shot. Plus the clarity of this, the balance of the midtones and all. I just thought that this image was just very well captured. Again, from a architectural perspective, the verticals are vertical, the horizontals are horizontal, as they should be in a good photograph. This glacier in Patagonia, you're probably saying, well, is that really a historical landmark? Well, think how old glaciers are. They're ancient. And what captured me with this image is a few things. I thought the lighting on this was really great. It's so difficult to photograph snowy scenes. They're usually very bright. The sun, can really wash out some of the detail in the landscape. But with this one, the shadows are there. The leading line coming in from the bottom right edge, bringing me right to those hikers coming across that glacier was it just really captivated me. And also the variation of the colors of the jacket. So we have this beautiful beautiful glacier, which in itself is just gorgeous to look at. But then putting those individuals in the scene, I thought was really a great touch. And I just give you, Loretta, if you're on the meeting, I give you credit for putting this in for this show. I thought it was a bold move to enter this piece. The Golden Gate Bridge from the North Tower. We usually see bridges from eye level or from below. Seeing a bridge from this perspective, I thought was great, especially the Golden Gate. And what really captivated me on this particular shot was how that bright orange comes in on the right-hand side. You would not have known that this was the Golden Gate Bridge if you didn't have that orange color. I think it might be the only bridge in the world that is painted that color. It was a really great capture. Roger, thank you so much for your entry. The gondola tour on the Grand Canal. How beautiful is this shot? The gondola on the Grand Canal, just a beautiful scene in itself. But then if you just look around, you can go layer deeper and deeper into this image. And if you've ever been to Venice, you just know how amazing this particular part of Venice is. You've got the restaurants clearly depicted on the left-hand side. You have the beautiful bridge, the gorgeous sky on this, and the lighting is just superb. And the gondolier pointing out something wonderful to the tourist. I love this shot. Emily, thank you so much for your entry. Still at the Dead Sea, another bold entry coming in for historical landmarks of the world. Yes, the Dead Sea is a historical landmark. It is a natural one. What I loved about this one was the laying out of the line in the water, the buoys in the water that sort of broke up the scene. It's obviously it's the Dead Sea, so there's not a lot going on here. The muted sky and the mountains in the background all fogged in, but having those buoys in the water just really depict how still this body of water is, the Dead Sea. So Audrey, thank you so much for this entry. The presidents. There were a few images that came in to this exhibit, a few entries that came in of the Mount Rushmore. I like this one the best. I felt that it was not over-processed. The sky so dramatic. I love that. A good sky is always takes me in the depth of the image, and the lighting on the faces of the monument I thought was very well done, and the positioning of where they are in the scene, the positioning of the actual faces on the rock face, where they are in the scene. They're not dead center, showing the mountain range, the beautiful foliage, the trees in the foreground. I thought this was very well done. And Karen, thank you so much for your entry. Empire State of Mind, really cool perspective of the Empire State Building. Obviously, working the streets of New York, utilizing everything at your disposal. In this case, a puddle. And I love the creativity of this, and the lighting is well done. The focus is very good, and the composition, it's clear. The center of interest of this image is phenomenal, and I know that this looks like it was probably flipped upside down. The frame itself was probably flipped. I see the curb on the side, but the creativity of this shot was really drew me into choosing this. So Roy, thank you so much for your entry. The Arc de Triomphe, another beautiful scene in Paris, France. What I liked about this was the tourism of it all. The balance of the lighting, the black and white, and this was really one of the better images of the Arc de Triomphe that came into the open call. The use of your depth of field on this one, so to get those lights to sparkle the way they do in this particular image, all comes down to knowing what you're doing with your camera and making sure that you're getting that great depth of field, and the f-stop. Some of you will, most of you should know what I'm talking about when I mention f-stop, but making sure that was set up in this image was really well done. Loving the tourists milling around and enjoying a beautiful historical landmark in Paris, France. Thank you, Bob, for your entry. The sunset at the Sultan Qaboos Grand Mosque. Beautiful shot. Look at how gorgeous this is. The lighting is phenomenal. The clarity of this is just amazing. Doesn't really give me much of a story to work with, but at the same time, I just love the balance of this image. The gold tones jump out at me with the peach and blue in the sky. There's just a lot of beauty in this capture, and that's why I chose this shot. So Emily, thank you so much for your entry. Really love it. San Miguel Archangel. This image was so cool. I've actually been here to this place in Mexico. What I loved about this, again, the architecturally properly photographed. No, the horizontals are horizontals and the verticals are vertical. But if you take a closer look, you can see in the foreground that little guy there carrying his instrument, walking through the square in front of this beautiful cathedral in Mexico. A great story, great lighting, phenomenal focus, and very unique in its capture. Having this, the gold tones, the lighting that's on this building offset with that deep blue sky in the background, just very elegant, a very elegant photograph. Mike, thank you very much for your entry. The Roman Forum in Italy. I chose this image because it was the only image of the Roman Forum in Italy. And I know that the lighting of this piece is a little bit harsh, but well handled. The time of day, you could see by the shadowing that this is probably high noon or very, very early in the day. And easy to wash out the details of this scene, but the photographer handled this perfectly. What I love about this is I could stare at this image and keep going through and seeing many different things within the scene. But what I like is if I go a little bit to the left, on the like left, bottom left almost, there's a crowd of tourists that are probably getting a nice tour of this area, standing at the base of those steps. So that was kind of cool too. I thought it was kind of a cool entry. And again, the Roman Forum, I've never been, looks amazing. And thank you, Sharon, for the entry. The Pyramid at the Louvre, phenomenal capture, gorgeous black and white. I love that the pyramid is not dead center in the frame. It's just such gorgeous structure in it on its own right, and it's easy to place this in the middle of your frame when you're photographing it. But the other thing I love about this image is in the background that ray of light is coming from the Eiffel Tower. So again, we have multiple historical landmarks that have come into this frame, and then they're properly handled by the photographer. The balance of the lighting, the uniqueness and the creativity that came away with this shot really captured me. And I want to thank you, Bob, very much for your entry. The Taos Pueblo. I've never been to a Pueblo in my life, but look at how fun this picture is. The colored doors just grabbed me, and I guess the uniqueness of this particular structure. I think I'm going to have to go do some more research on this particular location, understand its history a little bit more. But obviously, it is a historical structure. It's ancient, and the photographer did a great job of photographing the architectural elements of this image. Also, the lighting of this, easy to wash out details when you're dealing with light colored buildings and so forth. But the photographer did a great job. Again, love those colored doors that are dotted through the scene. So thank you so much, Ellen, for your entry. The Sandy Hook Lighthouse. This one I chose because of the fact that the photographer was able to balance the lighting on a very bright, sunny day with a white structure. Was still able to capture the detail of the image, of the structure rather, and to keep those verticals vertical. Not an easy thing to do. We've got a lot of things going on here geometrically, but the photographer did a great job with balancing all of these things out. I have never been to the Sandy Hook Lighthouse, but it is I think it's a UNESCO property. I'm not positive, but I might have to take a ride there one day, take a look at it. But Charles, I want to thank you so much for your entry. Beautiful shot. The Black Church of Iceland. Love this shot. Tells a lot. There's a lot of story here. The way I feel it, I feel Iceland when I see this image. The ruggedness of the country itself. It's a very rugged landscape all around. So having those rocks and that heavy moss in the foreground is amazing. And then in the background of the church, that fogged in mountain area, which is, Iceland is very, there's a lot of rain, there's a lot of snow, and you do get a lot of fog because the temperatures vary so much. And then just that perfect little church standing in the middle of nowhere is just a cool shot. So I really like the balance of this image, and I do like how unique this is. I've seen this Black Church of Iceland photograph before, but never like this. So Joseph, thank you so much for your entry. The sunrise at the falls. How gorgeous is this shot? This is Niagara Falls, obviously. I've seen this historical location photographed a million ways. But this one just captured me with the wispiness of the sky, just a touch, and the long exposure, but not too long of an exposure. It shows the movement of the water, the rush of it, away from the fall. You could just see the power of the water going away from the actual waterfall area. And then the beautiful soft colors. I mean, how gorgeous is that? I love this shot, and I want to thank you, Juan, for entering this image into the exhibit. Very nice. The resident llama of Machu Picchu. Cool shot. This tells a great story. Machu Picchu, obviously an amazing historical landmark. I've never been. One day I hope to go. The sky, beautiful clouds and all of that. And then in comes our resident llama. How cool is that? Just tells you, it gives me the feel of being there. Gives me the feel of this is, it's not just a place for tourists to roam around. It's also a place for the resident llama to roam around. I love the shot, and like I said, one day I hope to get there myself. Michael, thank you so much for your entry. The Parthenon. I just got back from Greece and was able to see the Parthenon. It is an amazing structure, and it is super ancient and super historical. And I thought that this was a really good composition for a challenging one, trying to get all of those columns to line up and not look like they're leaning in or out or left or right. Really did a nice job holding on to the architectural elements of this shot. And then again, you've got a gorgeous sky, having the tourists milling around this spot. It is really an amazing thing, the Parthenon, amazing structure, the amazing history behind it, and having just come back from there. So I think that was part of what gravitated me towards this. So Melissa, I want to thank you for your entry. Really nice job. The Coney Island parachute jump. I don't think I've ever seen the parachute jump at Coney Island photographed in this way. I think it's super unique and really pretty. Great balance of the light. I mean, you're shooting straight up into the sky. Would have been so easy to lose the details of this image, of the structure itself. But the photographer held tight with their lens and whatever else that they did to hold the lighting down, keep it from blowing out the detail of that parachute jump. I just think it's kind of cool. I loved it. I just love the coloring, and I love the perspective of this shot. I thought it was very unique, and that's why I chose it. So Kimberly, thank you so much for your entry. The Fiery Freedom. We had quite a few entries of our beautiful Statue of Liberty in the harbor of New York. I chose this one because I felt that also the FDNY is historical. I have a little bit of love for those guys. They're heroes in my neck of the woods. That's why I chose this image. I felt that the Statue of Liberty was properly depicted. Usually, this is probably a 4th of July shot around that time of year, where the fire boats shoot their cannons, their water cannons, and around the statue. It's a great shot. It's a great celebration shot. Kudos to the FDNY for doing what they do, and kudos to you, Chris, for bringing the Statue of Liberty into our exhibit tonight. Thank you so much. The tower in Amsterdam, I cannot pronounce that. I probably could try, but I'm not going to. I love the leading lines on this. The boats along the canal, bringing me right down to that tower at the very end. I've never been to Amsterdam. I heard it's a riot and a lot of fun. And this is a typical scene, I would say, with the canals, the waterways, and the buildings right up against the waterways in Amsterdam. Good balance here. I would have liked to see a little bit less blowout in the sky around that tower. But I like the shot. I like the leading lines, and I like the composition overall. Thank you so much, Nicole, for your entry. This shot in Scotland, the Ring o' Brodgar. I'm just going to say it, whatever. Andy sent in 3 images or 4 of this particular location. I landed on this one. I love this one because leading lines coming from the rock laying on the ground, pointing into the rock standing up, and then from the rock standing up, it takes me all the way out to the rocks in the background standing up, and it's just a beautiful S curve going back and forth, and my eye just keeps going back and forth into the scene. The lighting is phenomenal, a great balance on the black and white, and a pretty sky to go along with it. So really great shot, Andy. I'm not surprised. You always have such gorgeous work. Thank you so much for your entry. The Horseshoe Bend, again, another historical landmark that is natural. Nature made this one for us to enjoy. Millions of people gravitate towards the Horseshoe Bend year after year after year. I love the balance of the lighting here, and I love that the red rock that just seems to just jump out, that gorgeous red rock in this area of the United States. I still another place I've never been. I hope my husband, who's on this call, is taking some notes. But this is a beautiful, beautiful place, beautiful scene, and the red rocks of I believe this is Arizona. I might be mistaken, but I've been to Arizona. Beautiful area, beautiful part of the world, and Horseshoe Bend, amazing, an amazing place to be. So thank you, Lori, for bringing this into our exhibit tonight. Thank you. The Spruce Tree House Mesa Verde Morning. I chose this one just because it was, I went back to that other image that we had of the Pueblo, another type of structure or building or historical site that I've never been to, and I don't really have much historical knowledge myself of this, but this just looks really like a really cool place. I love the way the two, I guess it must be a ladder of some sort that's coming up where people can go down and come up and go down and come up. But just kind of cool. The lighting of this is really good as well, because we have this, there's a lot of depth in this image, and the photographer just took the time to get the lighting right, all the way from the very front of it where the foreground, the flooring is bright, and then it's just a little bit deeper, but they never lost the details going through the rock and going through all the other elements of this image. I would love to know more about this at some time. Again, I'll talk to you, some of you, at the end of the exhibit. But this was just interests me. I just felt like the leading lines in this, the ladder coming up, just kind of brought me in, and then I'm like, well, what is that? What is that? Interesting, very interesting structure. Rodney, thank you so much for this image. Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris, France. This appears to be before the tragic fire at Notre Dame. Beautiful image. I had to choose this because it is one of the most historical structures in the world, landmarks in the world. And if you've ever been to Paris, and make sure you take a stop in at Notre Dame. It is a gorgeous structure, and just beautiful, just beautiful. Loving the trees within the scene of this one, beautiful sky, and again, properly handled the verticals and the horizontals of this image. Thank you, John. Molten Homestead, Pink House. I was just out in the Tetons, Grand Tetons, in the fall of 2023. A beautiful little area, these houses that are there, the homestead, the Molten Homestead. Love the Tetons in the background, snow-capped and gorgeous. But really, what do I love about this shot? The leading lines coming in, the shadows of the trees, just, covering the ground, pointing right to the main subject, which is the pink house. Yes, that house is pink. I've seen it. It's cool. The other thing I love about this image is that the photographer didn't get their own shadow in the shot. I looked for it, I didn't see it, but really great work, great, great black and white. So Lou, thank you for bringing this historical landmark onto this exhibit. The Rock of Cashel. This is in Ireland. I've been here, an amazing place. Talk about ancient. I don't really know the time. I think goes back to the days of Saint Patrick, believe it or not. The Rock of Cashel is an amazing structure. The landscape around it is beautiful. The just the whole thing. This image makes this place look small. It is not small. It is gigantic, and it is an amazing place to visit. The greens of Ireland are coming through beautifully here. It was the only entry of the Rock of Cashel, but even if it was multiple, I just love this. I love that the sky is muted the way it is, and it just allowed this beautiful ancient structure to stand tall. Very, very well done. Thank you, Mike, for your entry. The Duomo in Florence, Italy. What's cool about this shot is the black and white, the way it's done, very well done. Having the Duomo standing tall in between the buildings of Florence is just cool. And I just love the two couples walking hand in hand coming down the street. So the story that's being told here is one of, of love in my mind. And I think it's a very unique way of photographing the Duomo, and just gives me a really beautiful feel of Italy and of Florence, which is a gorgeous city if you ever have an opportunity to go. Nicole, thank you for this entry. Very pretty. The Gateway Arch of St. Louis. Love this shot. Had several entries of the Gateway Arch, and they were all really cool. But this one stood out to me because of the little bit of a glow or reflection on the arch itself, and having the skyline of St. Louis in the background. I just loved the perspective of this shot. There were, as I said, there were other entries that came in, and there's so many different ways to photograph the arch in St. Louis. This isn't extremely unique, but it is because it's the black and white elements jump out, made that arch stand out and jump out. Definitely a long exposure going on here. Look at that soft sky, and the clarity, phenomenal. So really great focus, really great exposure, and excellent job. James, thank you for your entry. The Egyptian Theater in Coos Bay. I believe this is in Canada. This particular artist entered 4 different theaters. One was more gorgeous than the other. These theaters are they're just beautiful. The architecture and the decor within them are just beautiful. Very well balanced shot. Very well handled photographing inside the interior, getting the lighting right, and just having that little microphone on stage with the backlit light on that, I thought was kind of a cool way of depicting activities that either are still ongoing in the theater, or maybe activities from the past, like performances from the past. I thought this was just a cool shot. I love the colors, the reds and the golds, and the way the lighting was handled with this. So I want to thank you, Bill, for this entry. And I know you had sent me an email, and I think we'll talk some more after the exhibit. The Brooklyn Bridge, another great perspective of a bridge that is not eye level or from the ground up. I love this shot. I would imagine the photographer was able to climb up a little bit high, unless there was a drone involved, not really sure. Great handling of the black and white on this. very well done. The verticals are vertical, the horizontals are horizontal, and the American flag is not flapping and all blurred out, which typically when the photographs of the Brooklyn Bridge or any bridge with the flags up top, there's a lot of wind up there, and those things are always flapping around. They're usually blurred out. So this one for me, what captured me was the fact that the flag was in place, the balance of the shot is there, and the really great lighting and the really great exposure just really all came together for me. Heidi, great job. Thank you for this entry. The Clock Tower of London, another historical landmark. But also, look, we've got the London Eye in there, which is that big Ferris wheel in the background. Had to choose this one, the clock tower. I think this is also called Big Ben, if I'm not mistaken. But you have to get this structure in the exhibit, the historical landmark of London. London has so many. It is one of the great cities to walk around with your camera and take some great photographs of historical landmarks. And the London Tower, I'm sorry, the Clock Tower. You don't want to say London Tower. That's a whole different thing. The Clock Tower of London is very well handled in this scene. So thank you, Mikhail, for your shot. The Duomo in Milan, beautiful structure, beautifully handled, beautiful lighting, great story, with all the people in the foreground. This particular Duomo in Milan is just exquisite. The details of it are amazing. I'm always marvel at how things are built so long ago with such detail and such amazingness. I don't even know another word to use, but it's a beautiful structure. It definitely needed to be in this exhibit, Historical Landmarks. If you get a chance, we do have this exhibit online to take a closer look at some of these shots. You just got to check out some of the people in here. It's kind of cool, the pigeons and all that. Very, very cool. Steve, thanks for the shot. Really great job. Thank you. The Roman Colosseum fresco. Love this image. Love the handling of this image. We did have a couple other Roman Colosseums that were entered into the exhibit. What I liked about this one, there was no distracting elements in the scene. There's no construction rigs or people or just oddities within the scene. This is just nicely photographed, and then having that fresco element added to it, I thought really was a beautiful touch. Mike, thank you so much for this entry. The Acropolis. Again, in Greece, I just came back. This is an amazing place to visit. I hiked up this with my husband from the bottom, the base, all the way up to the Acropolis, and then the Parthenon is up there as well, if you can only imagine. An amazing sight to see the uniqueness of this particular historical landmark. There's many historical landmarks within this one mountain area, this one mountaintop that they built all this stuff. There are amphitheaters and one thing after the other. The architecture, and it's ancient. I think it goes back like BC, if I'm not mistaken, or just around BC time, early BC time. Amazing that the stuff is still there, still standing, and that the people of Greece just really, they love it, they take care of it, and they're slowly putting it all together. Every day they're finding new stuff, and they're putting it back together. So who knows what it'll look like 100 years from now. But the Acropolis, great place and great historical landmark. Melissa, thank you so much for your entry. The Springtime. This is obviously the Jefferson Memorial. I thought this was a very unique way of bringing that historical landmark into the exhibit, having the trees to kind of on the left side to kind of frame it out, I thought was great. And then having the empty space, the negative space on the right, I thought was also nicely done. and the muted tones I thought was a good touch. Thank you, Carolyn, for this entry. The Ponte Vecchio. This is also Italy. This is a very, very famous bridge. Ponte Vecchio means old bridge, and it sure is old. It's historical. It's a really very well trafficked and highly visited place in Italy. And I thought this was a nice composition. Uh, Using the heavy tones on this, I think really made this bridge feel and look a lot older. And I thought that was really clever. So Dawn, I want to thank you for your entry. The Holy Monastery of Rausanu, I believe. Just thought this was cool. Never heard of it. Not exactly sure where in the world this is. Uh, but wow, what a cool structure. I believe when I read the commentary on this, when it was in the entry that it also is a UNESCO site. But if you look close to the left side of this structure, there's a staircase, there are people there, and then there's another staircase, and it goes all the way out. I mean, this must be an amazing place to not only get to, but then get to. Like it looks like you really have to work your way around to get into that place. Really nicely done. Great colors, great lighting, and great detail. So Ellen, thank you so much for this entry. The Great Wall of China. Uh, wow, right? I just can't even imagine having A, seen this, or B, have built it. And then who's maintaining this? But look at this thing. It just goes on and on and on and on and on. And it's obvious that it needed to be part of the historical landmarks of the world. I don't know the age of this Great Wall of China, but for sure it's ancient and looks magnificent. I mean, if you just follow the lines that go all the way out, it goes over that mountaintop and it's gone, but I'm sure it's continues off into the distance over there too. So really great entry, George. Thank you for it. I appreciate it. The Venice Grand Canal, beautiful. Love the colors of this. The softness of the tones of this image really captured me. Again, this Grand Canal is just a sight to see, and that Duomo is magnificent. I believe on the other side of that Duomo is the Piazza San Marco, St. Mark Square. Beautiful, great handling of the architectural elements of this shot. Verticals are vertical, horizontals are horizontals. You hear me say these things a lot, so you know what gets me excited when you guys and gals get it right. Love it. Thanks, Michael. Washington Monument in DC, had to get this guy in there. It's Washington D.C. So many historical landmarks, and this is one of my favorites. I love the American flags going around it. Uh, just nicely handled. The blue sky and the green lawn is just nicely handled. Thank you so much, John, for your entry. Stonehenge. We had a few Stonehenge entries. I love this one because of the lighting of this. I felt like the looks like a possibly a long exposure because of the softness in the sky. I don't know if a car light was shining on this or if there are lights on the grounds that perhaps are there for tourists so that they can get to see this in different times of day, not just bright daylight. I like the lighting on this. I just thought it was great, nicely handled, and phenomenal detail. A great composition. It really was nicely done. Thank you, James. The Egyptian pyramids. This is cool too. Having the camels in the foreground is just tells a story. I mean, when you think of Egypt, I mean, you think of the pyramids, you think of Egypt. When you think of Egypt, you think of camels. Um, it's just a perfect capture. Really, really wonderful. Really wonderful. Thank you, George. Rainbow World. This is the World's Fairgrounds in New York City, in Queens, New York. Just a historical structure. This I think it was, I want to say 1965 was the World's Fair in New York. This structure still stands today, and it is visited by many, 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 many people from around the world. And it was a good entry. I liked it. I love the little rainbow touch. Very cool. Thank you, Willie. U.S. Capitol at sunset. Love this shot. I love just the way it stands out, that the Capitol building just stands out uh, above everything else. The beautiful color in the sky. And even though we have got all these buildings in the foreground, it's just a gorgeous shot. The great lighting and great clarity. So thank you, Christopher, for your shot. The Great Falls. I don't remember where this is. I might want to say New Jersey or Pennsylvania. But apparently this is a UNESCO site. I have to get this on my radar as well. Beautiful shot, nicely balanced and nicely handled with all the elements involved. I felt it was because I think that this was UNESCO. I wanted to make sure that it got in the exhibit. So thank you, Jagdish, for your entry. The Chrysler Building in New York City. I had to get this one in as well. Beautiful shot. I'm assuming you're in a helicopter or you're flying a drone or something else, but great shot of not only the Chrysler Building, but the Empire State in the background. Really good work and phenomenal lighting as well. Thank you, Joseph, for the shot. All right. Well,
All
that
right.
was a lot of images.
Oh
Was
my
it
goodness,
great? Was
Joanne.
it great?
Thank you for taking the time to talk about each image. It really is great to hear your perspectives when jurying and what caught your eye. So that
Wasn't easy.
I know. It's fantastic. All right. So honorable mention. Are we ready? Drum roll for an honorable mention.
I am ready. All right. This shot, the Roman Colosseum in fresco, Michael O'Connor. Congratulations, Mike. I loved the use of the filter over the Colosseum. I just thought that it really made this image feel very ancient, very gritty. And I have been to the Roman Colosseum, and it is ancient and it is gritty. And this process that you utilized to get us to this point, to get this image to this point, I thought was handled amazingly. So, Mike, if you're on the call on the exhibit, I'd love for you to unmute yourself and just say a few words about um, this honorable mention choice.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, I was having fun with taking pictures of walls. Anywhere I was, if I saw interesting walls, I would just go up and photograph the textures. And I had this picture of the Colosseum that came up, and I said it needs something, so I added a little bit of a wall with a blend mode in Photoshop, and it just popped for me. I saw it. The sky over here was very pale and just black, just blah. I didn't really have much sky texture, and it really resurrected. Putting them together really made it for me. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. It made it for me too. It's a great post-production. Love it. Love it.
All right. So now the awards.
Okay.
So third place.
Third place, the Pyramid at the Louvre. I think I kind of gave a good summary of this and why now you know why I chose it, right? Loving the fact that the Louvre is photographed a little bit off center and having the Eiffel Tower in the back beaming through. Love it in the black and white. I just thought this was a great composition from start to finish, from front to back.
All right. Next, second place.
Stonehenge. I think I just run over this one pretty good as well. Loving the lighting on this, and Jessica knows I'm not a huge black and white production person. Like most of my work, I I shoot in color, obviously, and I'll try to convert things to black and white, but I can never do it right. When I see black and white images that come this crisp, this clean, and this beautiful, I'm in awe, and I just also felt like, in comparison to the other Stonehenge images that came through the entries, this one jumped out at me just because, again, the lighting was great, and the layout, the way he has it laid out in the scene, I thought was just nicely done. So Jay,
First place goes to
the gondola on the Grand Canal. I love this shot. I could see this hanging on, walls in hotels and in people's living rooms and dining rooms and so forth. The color, the balance of the lighting. I love the story that this tells. There's just so much going on with the gondolier pointing, showing the tourist. I mean, he's looks so proud of what he's doing, and this is his city, and he's showing it off. The depth of all the activity that's going on in this scene is just great, and it's just pretty. It's a pretty photograph of a very pretty place, a very historical place on our planet. And Emily, phenomenal job. I want to congratulate you on putting this entry through. And I'm very happy for you. I'm very happy that to honor you with a first place prize.
Right. So congratulations to everyone who participated and everyone who was able to join us tonight for the live reception. It really is a labor of love to be able to put these events together. And really, for Joanne, thank you so much for taking the time to really hone in on these images that you've chosen for the show to be represented in the show. Out of all of the artwork, yeah, you went over quota.
I couldn't help it.
I know, I get it. I totally understand. So thank you everyone for participaing.
Yeah, really nice turnout.
There's more.
Oh,
so if there's anything here that you want to add to your collection or anything, you can always contact Photo Art Pavilion and we'll help you acquire the artwork. You give us a call, send us an email. We're always here to help.
I want to say one other thing to all of the artists that participated in this open call. I never, ever consider any artist or any art piece a losing art piece. I feel it takes a lot of courage to enter an open call and take a shot and be criticized or critiqued, I should say, for your artwork. So I want to thank every artist that participated in applying to the open call. Don't be discouraged if you didn't win a prize. Don't be discouraged if your art piece didn't get chosen to be in the exhibit. So I just want to make sure that you all feel, very good about what it is that you did. And also the other thing I want to say, if anybody would like to reach out to me after the exhibit via email, please do so. If you want to discuss your artwork, your art piece, something I may have said, I'm saying a lot of things going through all of the art. I really would be happy to discuss your artwork and just work together with you in some way.
Excellent. All right. So thank you, everyone. I think at this point we will wrap up the live reception. And again, any questions, anything you want to go over, you can always email us, give us a call. Email is simple, hello@photoartpavilion.com. And I hope everyone enjoys the rest of their night.
Yeah, I hope so too. Thank you. So thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
Have a good night.